What is up, O ye agents of adventure? Agent Tex here.
Agent Axer.
We are on an island, y'all, and it's a particularly interesting island. It is said that this island was a place that the indigenous peoples of this area, the Pacific Northwest, used to quarantine from the times of great sickness, which I can only imagine is referring to whenever the Europeans brought over smallpox, amongst other diseases, but specifically smallpox, to this region. So the mystery we are here to solve is, did they have everything that they needed here to survive? That's what we're gonna find out today on our adventure. Oh, that's so cool.
There's a clam right there.
How did you figure that out?
There's a clam right there. I just accidentally stepped really hard one time.
That's so cool. Check it out, Agent X. Look where our boat is. Look how far the tide went out. So we have been here for like 15 minutes and the tide has already gone out that far. Our boat was literally in the water right here. The tide just receded that much. Wow.
That one's the biggest.
Okay, so Agent X is well on his way to answering our question, could they have survived here? Well, there are plenty of oysters around. He just spent about 10 or 15 minutes gathering oysters, and he has quite a few here. Look at that.
And no, I haven't been gathering oysters the whole time.
Oh my goodness. Are those clams that keep squirting, or oysters?
Clams.
We do not know a whole lot about shellfish, but evidently there are a good amount of them here on the shores of this island, and that is what we are going to be eating for dinner. What are the 3 things you think they would have needed to survive here?
Food, water, shelter.
Food, water, shelter. Boom. Food, water, shelter. So we've already established that there's some food here. There is quite a bit of food here. A mask, yeah. It looks like there is plenty of material here for building shelters.
And there's thimbleberries too. There's vegetation too. There's sea lettuce.
There's thimbleberries over there, yeah.
There's thimbleberries, sea lettuce.
But one of the big problems on an island is fresh water. That is a problem. This is all saltwater right here. And the island is about 5,000 acres, which is decently big for an island, but does it have fresh water? We are going to have to go deep into the forest here and investigate. And deep in the forest here is also another very interesting part of this island. It contains some of the most interesting cedar groves in this whole area. And some of the trees here are just about 1,000 years old. So we're going to go check that out too. All right, so we can mess around with clams later. We need to get this boat out to the water and over to our campsite because we got a long way to go. Those elk, Axel. There's elk right there. Wow. So evidently this island is full of wildlife. Porcupines, bears.
We can hunt porcupines with bows.
Yeah, we can't hunt. We don't have a hunting license. Okay, so we made it to the point, and I'm talking to Agent Trinity. We actually have phone service out here. Agent Trinity, what's up?
Hey,
is that Agent Hummingbird?
I just had toast.
You had toast? No way. Oh,
that's flour bread.
Oh, nice. That's almond flour bread.
You made it?
We just made acorn squash from the garden.
Acorn squash. They just baked acorn squash from our garden. That sounds great. Agent Trinity has an awesome garden. Wow. Oh, I love little coves like this. Yeah, let's see what it is.
Rockweed.
Rockweed. Observations.
Look, it doesn't tell you if it's edible there.
Rockweed is edible, particularly the young tips in spring. When they are bright yellow, they can be chopped, dried, and powdered to add to teas. Rockweed forms a short canopy that protects algae and invertebrates from wave action and desiccation during low tide. Periwinkle snails and false limpets eat rockweed. It's edible raw and cooked. Let's try it out. Is it good?
Mm-hmm. Taste it.
You like it? Hey, that's not bad. I wonder if the indigenous tribes that quarantined here at one point ate this. I'll bet they did.
Good.
All right, you want to take some for our meal tonight? All right. You can also eat it cooked, so maybe we'll put some in our food tonight whenever we cook it. There. This is tough. If I was smart, I'd have got here at high tide. I wouldn't have to drag this thing 500 feet.
If the tide was up 5 or 4 more feet, it would have gone all the way to the...
I think so. That's all we need is 4 or 5 feet, yeah. Next time, we will work with the tide. So the plan is to camp out here tonight, eat dinner, get some good sleep, get up in the morning, and then head deep into the forest of this island and investigate and learn a little bit more about just how incredible this island is. It is an extremely interesting place, and hopefully locate some fresh water to solve the mystery of whether or not the indigenous people of this area could have lived here for long periods of time while quarantining. So what you got there?
Evergreen huckleberries.
Evergreen huckleberries. Look
Taste
at
some.
that. Wow. Agent Axe is on it, you all. He has already found and identified a food source that I'll bet you anything the indigenous people who may have survived here for a period of time during quarantine would have used and eaten, used as a source of nutrition. Man.
And die.
This is cool. Agent Axe, you are an awesome plant
Here, have some.
observer. He's just like
Taste it.
immediately finding all of the food really quickly. So don't ever eat anything you find in the wild unless you know 100% that it is safe to eat. We have identified this plant, confirmed that it is edible, and we are 100% sure that this is safe to eat. Do not eat things in the wild. They can kill you, okay? So, all right. Let's give it a try. I've never had evergreen huckleberries. Best huckleberries ever. Those are so crisp. Man, that is so, it just pops in your mouth.
They're like
so
apples.
Perfect. Oh, they're amazing.
What's for dinner, Agent Tex?
I am glad you asked, Mr. Hand. We are having chicken pad thai for dinner.
Ooh.
With fresh collected oysters.
Ooh.
Do you like that, Mr. Hand?
Yeah.
All right, can you go get the oysters, Mr. Hand?
Yeah.
Okay.
I bring my other friend the hand. Hi. My name's other Mr. Hand. Mr. Hand 2.
Mr. Dirty Hand. It looks like a rhinoceros. Or like a snapping
No, the mouth.
turtle.
It
It looks like a snapping turtle. Look at that.
with
That's
one
cool.
big eye in the middle of its head.
Yeah. All right, I am not an oyster shucking expert, but we have the Adventure Agent Survival Knife, which will be back in stock hopefully within like a month. Let's see if it can shuck an oyster. Oh, look at that. Ah. Oh, man, look at that. Check it out. The Adventure Agent's Knife is officially an oyster shucker. All right, so we're putting
just eat it separate.
some of this rockweed in here. Is that rockweed? That's what it's called? Okay, I forgot already what it's called. Yeah, I'm concerned about these oysters. Oysters have a pretty strong flavor. I'm concerned they're gonna kind of ruin our meal if we just dump them in there. I was hoping to get some clams for this, but it was too late. We couldn't get any. So this rockweed stuff's highly nutritious. It contains protein, iron, vitamin C, vitamin E, manganese, magnesium, chlorophyll, carotenoids, and dietary fiber. All some of the things that your body might need to thrive if you were quarantining for a long period on this island. So we're gonna rinse these oysters out here.
I'll give you all the oysters.
Get all the sand out. And then I'm just gonna toss it in there. Agent Axe shucked all these oysters with the Adventure Agent's knife,
Plus
right?
3 more.
Man, dude, you're fantastic at that. Awesome work, man. Chef Axe, look at that. That looks really snotty, slimy.
It tastes good.
All right, so we are gonna serve up some chicken pad thai here. There we go. All right, moment of truth. Oyster, chicken pad thai with rockweed. Mm. Mm. Wow. Mm.
Good?
I like it. I like it. Mm. 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 Works out very well. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, keep it on.
It's all done. Nice. We love camp popcorn. Oh my gosh, it's falling out.
Put it on.
Right, turn it off, turn it off. He just spilled all the popcorn.
I didn't spill too much.
Yeah, well,
I mean, if we salvage
it's still good. We're salvaging it. We'll see you in the morning, and we'll finish solving the mystery of this island.
What is it?
Good morning, agents. So, check out the tide. My pants are half on. Look at that. It's gone. It's gone. I had no idea it was like this. All that water we were on yesterday. Wow.
The island. We can walk across to.
Yeah, we can walk all the way. We can walk to the other beach over there. The entire bay is gone. Eggs, bacon, and potatoes. And for dessert, coffee and an entire bag of huckleberries that Agent Axe baked. Thanks, Agent Axe. Oh man, these are the best huckleberries. All right, folks, so I gotta go take care of some business in the woods, and then we're gonna head into the island and see if we can solve this mystery. There are a number of different angles by which we can pursue solving the mystery of where fresh water may be located on this island. In this area, fresh water is typically stored in higher elevation areas and slowly drains through aquifers, popping out into groundwater in streams and creeks, which lead to rivers and eventually to the ocean. There isn't much elevation gain on this island, and so finding valleys through which streams would be running and draining to the ocean is going to be difficult. Another way of approaching it would be to find certain kinds of vegetation that grow well in damp and wet conditions. And I happen to know of the location of a grove of western red cedars that is estimated to be over 4,000 years old. This grove contains western red cedar trees that are also estimated to be around 1,000 years old. Now, I also happen to know that western red cedars love to grow in very damp and moist conditions around streams, creeks, and bogs. I want to visit this cedar grove anyways, and maybe, just maybe, we'll find some fresh water around the cedar grove and knock 2 birds out with 1 stone. We've been walking along for quite a while, about 3/4 of a mile, and Agent Axe noticed something really neat. These giant western red cedar stumps that are scattered around here. Now, we aren't near this 4,000-year-old grove, but this is interesting. Let me show you. You see that, Agent Axe?
Fine.
Burned. These cedar tree got burned to the stump here, but you see what this is like up here? Some of you timber folk know what this is. This tree got cut down. So this right here points to two things that make this island extra special. Number one, this island is highly protected from wildfire. Wildfire is very rare here. And so that's a unique find right there, is a clear show of a burned stump right there, the roots being burned. One other thing that's unique about this island is that it wasn't completely logged. It's very rare to find old growth around here, specifically old growth on something like a small island. But this island, because of the terrain, wasn't fully logged. And so they left some of the oldest trees in the middle of the island where it was more difficult to get to. That's the grove we're headed to. The grove that they left standing, even when they logged it, Weyerhaeuser logged it 100 years ago. Yeah, here we go. Do you see how smooth that cut is right there? That is not natural. Trees do not naturally fall and leave that smooth edge. And since we know that this was not cut down by the indigenous people of this area, they did not have the tools to cut down these giant cedar trees like this. And since we can see the clear indication of wildfire here, I think that the fire actually came after these trees were cut down, which means that this fire is likely no more than around 100, maybe a little bit more years old. So here's a plant that was a staple of the indigenous people of the Pacific Northwest, the Salau Bush, and it has a really delicious berry. It's kind of mealy, and they would mix it with salmon, make a paste, and preserve it, and it would last them a long time. Really, really neat plant. It's good, but it's not as good as the evergreen huckleberries. How many berries now that the indigenous people who may have quarantined here would have sustained themselves on?
5.
5 berries? 5 different kinds of berries. Really, really cool.
I found miner's lettuce.
Miner's lettuce, Siberian miner's lettuce. Agent Axe and I were keeping a look. You hear that? Heard something. We're keeping a lookout for Siberian miner's lettuce. Good stuff. Common self-heal. As its common name suggests, self-heal has a long tradition of being used in herbal medicine for everything from stopping bleeding and healing wounds to treating heart disease and sore throats. So assuming this is not invasive, I imagine that the indigenous people of this area used this while they were quarantining here as well. Maybe they even tried to use this on smallpox wounds. So as many of you may be aware, Agent Trinity and I do not facilitate the education of our children within the 4 walls of a school building. We practice something that most would call life learning. We just call it normal. It's what our ancestors always did. It's the way the human mind was built to learn. The experiment that is the modern education system is something that has only been around for a very short period of time, and it seems to us that it is a massive failure. We encourage our children to learn through their own curiosities, and we balance that with a good work ethic and a strong sense of self-ownership and responsibility. This has always been the way that we facilitate their learning through life and have seen them flourish in every aspect of their life. To us, it is the way of the future for education, and ironically, it is also the way of the past. Because we are pioneers in this way of approaching the facilitation of the education of our children, we don't have access to the resources and community that most people within our country do. We hope to someday change this and to help other parents regain control of the growth of the minds of our children. So, Agent Axe, do you notice anything different in the forest now?
More green.
Look around carefully, everywhere.
More cedars.
More cedars. Bingo. Very interesting. So all those cedar stumps we were seeing back there, the big ones, those were the only cedars that were there. But now we're starting to see some giant cedar
Yeah, this
trees.
already feels better. It numbed the pain.
Oh, it did?
The thing, yeah.
Nice.
Like,
the heel all?
I can't feel it.
Yep, there's a giant cedar, there's a giant cedar. The difference in the forest we're seeing right now is a true testament to just what clear-cut logging does. You take away the mothers of the forest. It's likely that the forest looked so much different 200-300 years ago before the Europeans came and started cutting everything down. It didn't look like this, didn't have all these little trees here. This forest was likely dominated by these giant western red cedars. And the grove we're about to go to will be a relic of ancient times. Okay, so we are almost to the grove, but check this out. This giant cedar tree here has something really neat. This is a clue. This is a foothold that loggers would carve out of this tree right here, and they would step in there so that they could cut it off. So they cut it off up here, right there, but they put these notches in here so they could walk around the tree and cut it.
They're in the hole in the middle of it?
Yeah, this tree was logged well over 100 years ago. What it must have taken to haul that thing out of here. Whoo, boy. Humans can do some incredible things, like the feat of hauling such a gigantic tree out of here with no motors or anything. But they can also do an incredible amount of damage by decimating forests like this. There's a balance to these things, and man, it's incredible and sad at the same time.
GoPro start
So Agent X just noticed something. We started crossing over a little bridge on the trail here. And why do you need a bridge? Well, because this was likely a stream. Now, it is in the middle of summer right now. And so the stream looks like it's dried up, at least here. I don't see any sign of water. And that's one of the mysteries we need to solve here.
Are you supposed to eat the seeds of this?
You are, yeah. There's big, oh, the Salau berries are huge here. Probably because there's water here. It's moist. All right, so let's make note of this. This might continue on down in a different direction, but look, see these giant cedar trees are starting here, and they need that moisture. They need that wet soil. So I think we're on the right track. Maybe there's water close by.
The Don Bonker Cedar Grove Trail.
You're not supposed to laugh at that. Because we got a Salau. It's like in my throat. All right, folks, we have made it to the trail. And the trail is named after a congressman who helped to get this place protected. And his name was Don Bonker. Isn't that bonkers? Just kidding. That's terrible. You shouldn't make fun of people's names, okay? I've gotten a lot of giggles over the years out of the fact that my middle name's Texas, so I can take it. I can give it out a little bit. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. Oh, these are giants. Wow. Check it out.
It's a little house. Someone could make.
Dude, that's so cool.
Someone could have made.
There's this bridge right here and this giant cedar tree. So the trail is getting very narrow here. Really overgrown. This trail looks like it's pretty abandoned. Not many people come through here. And the problem with this kind of trail is that if you're going through and you're being too quiet, there are berries everywhere. And there are bears here.
You said berries.
Yeah, berries. Yeah, there are.
I
Look.
thought you
See?
said berries.
Bears love these berries, and we don't want to run into a bear. So we need to kind of make some noise as we're coming through here, just to let the bear know,
Woof,
hey, we're
woof.
coming. We do not
Woof, woof.
want to surprise a bear.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Here we're coming. Whoop,
Hey, bear. Coming through, bear. I was really hoping to see some wildlife here. We already saw some elk, but I don't want to accidentally bump into something like a bear. Here is an interesting clue here. So in doing some research on this place, the experts said that trees like this, old, ancient, giant trees that have been dead for a long time, they are likely to have been around as saplings whenever Yeshua was born, whenever Yeshua was a little boy. Agent Axe is making a vlog too on his channel. I'll put a link down below to that video. But you can see the wildfire that was definitely here, and that could be very old. So while wildfire is supposedly rare here, it's not non-existent. So that's interesting too. All right, Agent Axe, so.
A ravine.
A ravine. You are right. I was about to ask him a question, but he's already on it. See, learning through life with this kid, he's on it. If there's water, it's going to be right down in that valley. So this is the biggest ravine on the whole island and the longest channel of a ravine. And so if there is water, it will be down here. So Moment of truth. We're gonna go off the beaten path here and hopefully solve the mystery of whether or not the indigenous people could have survived here. Oh my gosh. I'll bet you something lives in there.
Water.
Do you hear it? I hear it. I hear water.
Water.
I hear water. This is so exciting. I
can't
cannot
survive.
tell you how excited I am, agents. This is definitely a path, and it might be a game trail, so be careful. Oh my goodness, agents. Just wow. Look at this.
There could be fish there.
Look at that.
There could be fish there.
This is incredible. Yeah, there could be little trout in here. Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is incredible.
You can sleep here.
Really?
A roof. Come here.
Oh my gosh, you're
See, around
right.
Here, there's even railing.
So we're gonna explore this natural shelter with the new Adventure Agent's tactical flashlight. This thing is super powerful. Wow, look at that. It goes way up in there. Yeah, you're right. You could sleep right there. Lay down right there. Is that comfortable?
It's perfect.
Nice.
You try. You try.
Okay. Oh. Oh yeah. Oh. You don't mind sleeping with the spiders, this would be perfect. Hey, I wonder if, this is a bear's den, you know? Better not hang around too long, they might come back.
This is called.
What are you doing in my home, Agent Tex? Snack time, folks.
Crackers.
Grass-fed jerky and crackers. Also a very special treat. This is like a once a month thing here. Poor little rabbits, they turned them into gummies. All right, Agent X, so we have established that there is fresh water here, and this is likely the only source of fresh water on this island. This is the only ravine that is big enough and high enough altitude that runs all the way down to the ocean for there to be water passing through year-round. And so we have solved a good portion of this mystery. During plagues, like smallpox, that the old world, as some historians call it, brought over to the New World, which is now known as North and South America.
What's chicken or smallpox?
Smallpox? Smallpox is a communicable disease that has been around since, the dawn of history, the dawn of documenting things. They've even found mummies from ancient times that they believe had smallpox, people that had smallpox that they mummified.
Like Smovid?
Like what?
Like Smovid?
Yes, like, we'll have a name for this here because we don't want to use the actual name, because this video will get censored by the censors and the Nazis. Yes, we will call the current communicable disease, because that's what smallpox is. It was a communicable disease, and the current, communicable disease that's taking the world right now, we will call it Voldemort. That which we shall not name, but we will name Voldemort. So a communicable disease is what? A disease that you can pass on to others?
Yeah.
Communicate to them, right? Right? Yep.
These are so pretty. Feel how smooth they are.
Oh, wow, those are pretty. A little bit later, we'll talk about what I believe is a communicable disease that most people don't think of as a communicable disease, but I think it's a very important subject to talk about.
I found a pearl.
So the indigenous tribes that we have established, likely quarantined here during a plague like smallpox, based on the stories, probably lived very close to this stream. In fact, I would wager that they lived right at the area where this stream meets the ocean. Because another thing we've also established is that the ocean holds another great resource for them, and that was plentiful food in the form of shellfish. And also another staple food of the people of the Pacific Northwest would be the fish that they would be catching in the waters of the Willapa Bay. Oh, look at this monster. Wow. This is another one of those monsters that was logged a long time ago. See the footholds cut? This thing is huge.
This is cool. Watch the pine needles. Watch me.
Wow. Definitely would not want to fall down into that hole.
No, and if our backpacks fall down, we
giant
wouldn't be
hole.
getting them.
Yeah. So do you think this is where the indigenous folks of this area would throw the naughty little kids when they were bad, keep them down there until they shape and down?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at this giant. I don't think they treated their kids like that. Cave here. Barely squeeze in. Oh, but I'm in.
You could boost me up and I could climb up.
All the way up there, yeah?
You could boost me up.
All right, so we're gonna see if I was a naughty kid that they threw down in this hole. Could I get out?
No, but I'm a kid.
Huh?
You're not.
You are a kid, that's true. Ooh. Okay. Oh. All right.
My turn.
I made it. I made it. Whew. I can make it out. Agent Axe is gonna give it a shot now. Yeah.
No, I can't.
You can't? I think you could. If I coached you, I think you could. But those boots, man, those are terrible. Terrible for climbing.
I can.
You got it? Come on up.
Oh no, oh no.
I got it, I got you. Oh. Now, Agent Axe, the question is, how are we gonna get down now?
Oh dang.
How are we gonna get down now? Looks like, oh here, look at that. You can wedge yourself there. Agent Axe has got the monkey feet now. No boots here. No sir. Boots equal fall and break your neck. We don't want that. I am so grateful to have been able to walk amongst these ancient giant trees. And I find it interesting that these western red cedar trees were also one of the most important survival items for the indigenous peoples of the Pacific Northwest. Whether they were quarantining on Long Island here from a communicable disease like smallpox, or they were living anywhere in the region, the western red cedar is the great mother of the forest here. I love how sometimes the western red cedars have these giant arms jutting out and extending up into the air, almost as if they were the Ents mentioned in Tolkien's books. Such a beautiful and accurate representation of them being the caretakers of the forest. And these western red cedars were also referred to as the tree of life here in the Pacific Northwest. It was a tree of medicine, a tree of practical tools like baskets, and even a tree that would have been made into the very canoes that would take the indigenous people over to this island. Well, folks, the tide came in, so I think we're gonna make it out of here without having to drag the boat. First of all, I want to say that this video is not made for kids. It's made for families. Specifically, I'm making these videos for dads. So for anyone who might have any issues with what I'm about to say or with what I say ever in these videos, I just want to let you know this is not made for kids. So if you have an issue about your kid hearing something, well, maybe they shouldn't watch this, or maybe you should reconsider having them watch these videos, because I am not making them for kids. I'm making them for families, and I'm making them specifically for dads. Now, I would let my kids watch these videos, and I try to make them family friendly in that way. But you might not want your kid to hear certain things that we say or watch certain things that we do, and that's okay. That's your choice for your family. But we're gonna live our life as our family sees fit, and we're gonna love everyone around us the way we see fit. So I just wanna make that clear before I start talking. So, Agent X, you were asking earlier what smallpox was. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Well, smallpox was a communicable disease, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was terrible.
Communicable disease is a very hard word to say.
Yeah, you got these lesions, these bumps all over your body and your face, and it was just horrible, and it killed a lot of people.
What,
a whole lot.
Did?
Yes, specifically people who were here in what we now call North and South America on this continent, these continents, because people who lived in the Europe, Asia, Africa area, they were all interconnected, and so they got used to each other's diseases. The diseases kind of went around there. but we were disconnected from this landmass, North and South America. And so whenever the people started coming over from those land masses, not too long ago, you know, historically speaking, those diseases just ravaged the people who lived here because they didn't have any prior immunity to that. And so it hurt them particularly bad. Some estimates show that it killed over half the population of the people on even this coast, the Pacific Northwest indigenous tribes. So it's terrible, terrible diseases like that and other diseases. So Voldemort is something you've been hearing a lot about, right? Communicable disease called Voldemort. And so a lot of people are talking about different ways you can stay safe and protect yourself from Voldemort. So you've heard way too much about that, but I want to talk to you, Agent Axe, about a different kind of communicable disease, one that you know, most people wouldn't actually call a communicable disease.
Is this one called Smoldemort?
No, but I think actually, if you look at it a certain way, it actually is and functions like a communicable disease. So apparently, some of the indigenous tribes would quarantine here to get away from people so that they wouldn't be communicated to by this disease, right? So that other people couldn't communicate this disease to them, right? And one way that that disease could be communicated is through coughing. So I find that interesting, the word communicate, right? And so communicable, meaning able to be communicated. It's a disease that's able to be communicated to someone else, right? Communicable disease. So currently here in the United States, the majority of people who end up dying every year die from certain kinds of diseases. And at the top of that list are diseases like what people call heart disease, right? It can be a wide range of things.
Heart disease, cancer, lung cancer.
Yes, heart disease. Also diabetes is one of them. And so most people would not consider those diseases to be communicable, right? But I actually see it a little bit different than that. Do you know what an advertisement is?
Where there's like Coca-Cola and Pepsi signs everywhere?
Yeah.
The couches,
signs.
The couches literally are painted with Coca-Colas all over them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, signs. We, at the beginning of this video,
there's Coca-Cola ads on TV.
Yeah, we technically advertised our badges at the beginning of this video. Our badges are a product that we sell. We advertise our clothing that has adventure agents on it, our water bottles.
But it's not ads that we get money on.
That's a form of advertisement, but we're advertising our own stuff. And
it's not what you get money off of.
And many people who are watching this video likely heard or saw some advertisements at the beginning of this video. Now, you know, Agent Trinidad talked to you a lot about advertisements, right? And how we've explained to you how it works. There's groups of people who get together in buildings and they pay them considerable amounts of money to think of how that they can convince people to purchase their products in various ways, right? Is that a bad thing? No. So advertisements are a form of what?
Communicating.
Communicating. Boom, you got it. Yes, advertisements are a form of communication. Okay.
And if the thing that's on the advertises makes you get diseases, then it's a communicable disease.
Bingo. There you go, right? Okay, so one thing...
Like that McDonald's truck we saw.
Yes, exactly. We saw a McDonald's truck, and the McDonald's truck had a big field of really beautiful farmed lettuces, and you know, it gave you this idea that McDonald's is associated with natural and healthy, and a lot of data actually points in a different direction, and that is that overconsumption of food at a place like McDonald's is associated with disease. And also, these things work together. Many communicable diseases actually work in conjunction with other communicable diseases to make it more likely that it's a compounding effect. So many individuals who are having particular trouble with Voldemort, they have other forms of disease already and other serious complications. And so back to the communication part of this. And brands want you to associate their products with something that's good, right? And so Coca-Cola is a company that sells a product that is basically liquid sugar. And overconsumption of processed sugar is highly linked to the top diseases that kill most Americans.
Heart disease, diabetes.
Heart disease and diabetes, yes. Highly linked. Doesn't necessarily mean that if you have diabetes that you overconsume sugar, but there's a heavy correlation there for many people. And over the past number of decades, the amount of that disease has risen and skyrocketed in a very big way. Part of this is because companies like Coca-Cola, they've spent billions and billions of dollars trying to associate their product with something like happiness. Now here is a Coca-Cola ad showing Coca-Cola, open, happiness. Do you think that a flavored drink with a bunch of processed sugar in it should be linked to happiness?
I mean, if you really like it and you're happy drinking it.
Exactly. So it's up to you, right?
Yeah.
You might be happy drinking it, right? Now.
You might be like, more Coke!
Yeah. Now, but there have been many, many studies that show that many, many people overconsume these products and they end up with depression, actually. And so processed sugar is heavily linked to depression. And processed sugar is actually also addictive. And so to state that opening a bottle of liquid sugar, basically, which was what it is, could be something that you promote as linked to happiness, I believe is what we would call misinformation. And that misinformation, I believe, has led to a considerable amount of disease in the United States and around the world, but specifically in the United States. And Coca-Cola is just one example of that. I don't believe that it's inherently bad to try to associate your product with happiness, but whenever a company like Coca-Cola knows very well that their product is, that overconsumption of their product is heavily linked to many diseases, many forms of disease, then I believe that they should balance it by, you know, if we have a survival knife or we're promoting our survival knife, right? We're selling it, but we also on the other hand, hey, a survival knife can also kill you if you use it wrong, right? Do we say that? Yeah. Right? Yeah. And so we balance that. We say a survival knife can be a wonderful tool, a fun thing to use, an incredible thing, but it can also kill you. So there's a balance here, right? Now, if all Coca-Cola ever does is try to get you to associate their product with happiness and not balance it with, but also studies show that if you drink this amount of soft drinks per day, regardless of whether it's Coca-Cola or not,
yeah, I saw an ad
that
on
you have this much more likelihood of ending up with severe disease or depression or any number of other problems.
I saw a sign on the front of a McDonald's. It was a McDonald's ad and a Coca-Cola ad in one.
Yeah, I'm sure they team up.
It says, buy one Coke, get one free.
Yeah. So does that mean if we drink a Coke that we are doing bad? No, it doesn't. Or if we go to McDonald's and eat some French fries that we're bad? No. But based on what data we know,
it means we're going to be less healthy.
Well, maybe not, you know, and some people may not end up that way. Some people...
Al could probably eat McDonald's.
Yeah, some people may not have an issue with it, but most people, based on data that we see, seem to have an issue. And so, all that being said, we have taught you Agent X, and you know, you are on it. Whenever you see an advertisement, you know, hey, I recognize what's going on here. Just because you say open happiness to Coca-Cola, and just because when I drink a Coke, I feel a little bit happy sometimes, doesn't necessarily mean that
I've never
Coke
drank
is
a Coke.
Actually going to make you happy, right? You know better than that because we've taught you.
I don't know.
Because yes, you have drank Coke. And so many people are saying, you know, when it comes to Voldemort, you know, you stay safe and protect yourself. And I think that's really smart. It's really good to protect yourself from disease by staying healthy and by doing whatever it is else that you believe is going to help you to stay safe. I think that's really smart, but I think we also need to stay safe from other forms of communicable disease. And so, if a company like Coca-Cola communicates to you that their product is associated with happiness, drink till you're happy, that's not the case. No, they didn't technically say that, right? You know, they could mean you open it and you end up being happy. Sometimes, maybe, you know. When I drink a Coke, I am not happy. My body knows, because I've learned that after I drink a Coke, I do not feel happy. I feel pretty bad, you know. Maybe if I'll have one every once in a while, you know, I can mitigate that by, but if I consistently drink Coke, I end up feeling terrible, right? I know this. I know my body. Some people, it's not the same way.
But you don't consistently drink Coke.
I don't, yes. But when I did, I felt terrible. And so Some people, it's not that way. Some people don't have that same experience, and that's okay for them. But there is a lot of data that shows that this is the case, that overconsumption of soft drinks, which is what a sugar-laden soft drinks, is severely linked to high diseases, right? And does that mean that people who end up with some sort of disease, partially because they drink too much cola or eat too much sugar, does that mean that they are bad? No, absolutely not. But I would say that it is, in looking at it in that perspective, it is a communicable disease, meaning from the top down, if you notice advertisements over the past number of decades, the billions of dollars that cereal companies have tried to
Fruit Loops. I've seen
Fruit
tons
Loops,
of Fruit Loops.
they create these fruity, fun, you know, cartoon characters to try to convince kids that this product is associated with fun and happiness, when actually it's not actually natural for our bodies to consume this amount of processed sugar. Evolutionarily, creative, whatever you say, our bodies were not, whatever you believe, our bodies were not built to consume this processed sugar like this, right? We get sugar from fruit, maybe.
Mangoes.
Whole fruits, right? Yeah.
I mean, if we juiced like 10 mangoes and drank the juice, we're not meant to do that.
Yeah, right. But it's still better. Yeah, you need that fiber in there. It's better to have that, you know, the whole fruit, right? Because our ancestors didn't do that. They didn't just like juice the mangoes. They ate the whole thing. And that's how our bodies
and it tastes better
were
too.
built.
It tastes better too.
And so in that way, I believe, it's my perspective, that a lot of the diseases that we have here in the United States and around the world, but specifically here in the United States, are due to the communication of companies that their desire is only to make profit, and they could care less if people get sick from these products or that people end up getting disease from this product. Their number one goal is to sell, and not to balance that with a, hey, don't overconsume, you know. I know we've talked a lot about that, Agent Axe, in the past. We've taught you about advertisements, but I just wanted to kind of go over that with you again. So, Agent Axe, stay safe out there. Watch out for the advertisers. We advertise our products because we believe in our products. We believe our products are good quality and that they are going to inspire adventure in people, in families. And that is our goal. That is our mission, is to inspire the bond that adventure creates. And you don't need our badges or clothing or, you know, flashlights to go on an adventure, but they can be fun and practical things that we use all the time for adventure that you could use too. And we believe in that. And so that's why we advertise our products. And let me tell you why I allow advertisers here on YouTube. When we first started the show, long time ago, our old show, The Axel Show, I was so vehement. I was not going to allow advertisers to get into your minds. I did not want that. And so I did not release ads. Nobody else did that, right? Nobody did that. Everyone was like, well, why am I not going to make money? Come on, you know? But I wanted to do it different. I wanted the parents to pay, right? I wanted to create something good quality and let the parents pay for that. I did that for nearly a year, and I was very religious about it. I am never going to let these advertisers get in front of them. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to bite the bullet and I'm going to release these ads. And I released advertisements. As soon as I hit that button, release ads, as soon as I did that, our channel went from getting, I don't know, 100 views, 200 views a day or something like that. It skyrocketed, immediately skyrocketed. Within 2 months, we went from making $0 to making a full-time income. The reason for that was because when we released ads, the platform that we were on said, hey, we can make money off this now. Here we go. They said it wasn't directly connected, but it is. And so from that point on, I understood. If I want to reach people, because we released those advertisements, we were able to get in front of hundreds of thousands of families that we would never been able to get in front of had we not released those advertisements. And so...
And some of those ads are probably Coca-Cola ads.
Oh yeah, I'm sure many of them are. Coca-Cola spends the most money. They spend $4 billion per year on advertisements.
The most money ever?
$4 billion. And so I'm not saying that that's inherently bad, but what I'm saying is just watch out. Be careful. Don't just believe what you hear. The advertisements you hear in front of here, they don't necessarily have your best interests in mind. Some of them may be good advertisements. Some of them may be fun, whatever. You know, oh, that's a fun Coca-Cola commercial. Yeah, whatever. Maybe I'll drink a Coke every once in a while. Or maybe I'll drink as many Cokes as I want, and maybe I'll be okay. But the data seems to suggest that that's not the case. Be safe, Agent Axe. Hopefully You got a lot from this conversation? You think you're smarter now? What do you think?
Yeah.
You think you're dumber?
It's just the one I drank a couple hundred years ago. Rusty Coke can.
Yeah. All right, agents. Well, the adventure has come to an end. Somebody in the last episode told me that to keep my opinions to myself, so this is my response to that. I'm sorry, I will not. Our opinions are kind of what make us us, right? They make it's our opinions and beliefs that make us individuals. And so yes, you should be careful about how and where you share your opinions, but do not muzzle yourself. What you have to say, what you think is important. And it's important to believe in yourself and to assert yourself and to not let other people stop you from believing what you want to choose to believe by shaming you. You need to make those decisions on your own.
Yeah, on the camera. The wind's gonna be at our backs, guys.
I think so. Yeah, I think the wind will be at our backs. That's a good way to end it, agents. May the wind always be at your back. Unless that's your front. And then tough through it. You'll be better for it.
Look at the grass.
No matter what life brings your way, whether the wind be at your back or at your front, remember, life's an adventure, and love is the key, and love is a who, and love loves you. Love made you, love caused you to exist, love continues to uphold and sustain your existence. If you are watching this and you are seeing this, you are hearing and understanding me say this right now, that means you are so special. You are incredibly special, and we love you.
So special.
Yep, we do. That's what I believe. It's not true because I said it. None of this stuff that you hear me say, none of this is true just because I said it. You need to make up your own mind about these things, obviously, right? I mean, you know, you might be, 45 years old and you're listening to me right now and you're like, Agent Tex, you're telling me to make up my own mind about things. It is surprising, agents, how many people I meet, how many people I talk to that are older people that it's very obvious to me that they have not made up their own mind about most things in their life. They just assume because of what they were taught in school or what they learned in church or from the government or whatever, pick your organization, your your entity, and they just assume it's all true, and they never really actually questioned or thought about things on their own.
Let's go to the island.
And that's not good. I think we need to think about things critically. That's what we teach our kids to do, and that's what we try to live our lives in that way. So anyways, all right, Agent Tex out. Until the next adventure. Agent X out.
Yeah, let's go to the island.
You want to go to that island?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Look at that.
They just all took off.
Behold, Seagull Island. That's a big one.
That's not a seagull.
That's cool.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
it
that
is.
is a seagull.
This is for Agent Hummingbird.
Let us down.